All right, so I got me a big power blender up here. Before we use the power blender, I'm just going to shift it aside. I'm going to move some things over, and I'm going to show you the wonderful hot pepper that we are going to use to make our yam pie piping hot. Take a look here on the cutting board. I've got a nice habanero pepper. All I'm going to do is chop its little head off. We're going to take and cut out the seeds from the center of it. Now, if you can see that, just get the little seeds in the placenta, knock that little section right out, and be very careful. That is dangerous. Now, I'm going to put this in the food processor and chop this up real fine if I can manage to get my food processor to work. Now, we're going to add some delicious things to here. We're going to start off with some peanut butter. I got 1/3 of a cup of chunky peanut butter. Nice, delicious. Man, can you smell that, John? This is like,
good.
It's heavenly tear gas, yes? Don't get too close to the opening of that food processor because that stuff is piping hot. Now, I got me some molasses. I'm gonna, whoo, boy, that's hot. I got some golden molasses. Man, that's hot. Can you smell that over there, John? I got me 1/8 a cup of nice golden molasses. That's not as dark and rich as the dark molasses. It's got less sulfur in it. I'm going to set that aside here, and I'm going to take and I'm going to put me in another 1/4 cup of honey. That's 2/8 is 1/4 cup of honey. We're going to let that dribble in there. And I'm going to take me 2 eggs, and I'm going to see if I can do that egg trick. Let's see. Can I do that egg trick? What do you think, John?
Bet you can.
Ooh, almost. Now, we don't need that shell, do we? No, sirree, Bob. We'll do that again. And what do we do with that shell?
Recycle.
All right. That's right. Into the compost heap. And now we're going to put this on here and chop it up. Now, I don't know if you can hear me over the sound of that thing, but I got myself here 2 cups of yams, of wonderful yams, and I got this big machine in the middle. I mean, this is new. My mother-in-law gave me this thing. Isn't she sweet? She said, yeah, you got that power blender. I saw you doing that show with that electric drill out of the garage. You got to have some kind of real implements on there. So she said, here, use this with good health. So thank you, Ma. Now, we're going to get the yams in here. Ooh, it almost rings like a nice bell. We're going to put another pulse on this. Now. Oh, that's wonderful, but that ain't finished yet. Somewhere around here I got me a cup of half and half. I'm going to pour that half and half in there. I'm going to pour that half and half everywhere. And we're going to blend this up. We're making a wonderful pie. Now, what would it be without some spices? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with some spices. If I can find my little measuring spoons here. And we are going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. We're going to put in 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. We're going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. Yes, sirree, 1/4. Can you smell those spices? Freeze, can you smell them in the other room?
That's ridiculous, Bill.
All right, there goes Freeze, liar Freeze. He comes running in after the show. We're going to take 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. Boy, now, John, you can smell that, right? And we're going to take 1 teaspoon, yes, 1 liquefied teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to pour that in there, and we'll just put a little bit extra in there. It is delicious. And what are we going to do? We'll shut up and spin the blender. Now, all we got to do is carefully see in the middle of my big mess here. You cook like this at home, don't you? You get everything going in every which way. I know when I cook at home, it's even messier than this, and here we go. Now, look at that. We're going to blend this up nice and smooth. Now, you want to get this blended up really nice and smooth. We're going to clear a little room over here. We'll throw some things away. We'll get stuff out of the way. And we are going to make ourselves a pie crust. Yes, sirree, Bob, a pie crust. Because you can't, now see, I done disappeared again. You can't have a pie without a pie crust. So what do you need? Go out to your store and get yourself some commercial pie crust. I could show you how you could go through the trouble of making yourself a pie from scratch. I can't even open up a bag, so take a knife and open that bag. It's not worth the trouble. Any brand will do you, store brand or any brand alike. This particular one makes a double 9-inch shell and requires, now there I went my little spoons again, requires 4 to 5 tablespoons of water, of cool water. So we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of cool water, and we'll grab our wonderful, if I can find it, this is the biker loses his tools. You always got your fingers. So, if you have your dough blender at hand, you use your dough blender, or you use a fork, or otherwise you just get your hands in here and start blending this together. You could do it from scratch. It's not worth the trouble. This recipe, this mix, is enough to make what they call 2 shells. That's a top and a bottom, or 2 separate pies. I don't know about you, but I love the crust on pies. I think that's the best part of the pie. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a double thick crust. I'm going to roll this out for 1 crust. We'll just mix this up. And we're going to get it done mixing. You're going to want a nice dry cutting board or something. And you're going to want to sprinkle out a little flour. So we'll sprinkle a little flour on there. And don't over blend the crust. You want to get this just thoroughly well associated so that there are no dry parts. But if you over blend it, you'll tend to eliminate some of that good flakiness. And don't be a messy biker. Use a fork. Now, we'll take and form this into a nice round ball. Make it flat. Now, there's one big secret I want to tell you about using your wonderful rolling pin that is coated with some flour. Get this out and we'll start rolling it out. While I roll this out, you turn it a little bit, you sit back, you relax, and when you come back, this will be in the pan. We'll pour it out, we'll bake it up, and what are we gonna do, Mike?
Cook with fire, Bill.
All right. All right, now I tried to clean up, but I done made a mess. Now, I rolled out my dough, and let me show you a little trick here. You're going to take the rolling pin and just roll that pie crust up. This is nice and very thick. I've got a nice pie pan there, and I'm just going to lay it out on top of the pie pan. And very simply, what you do is you fold the edges underneath, and what you're going to do is play the flute. So you'll make some beautiful music, which means by fluting it that you'll go around and you'll just squeeze this and make all that nice dimply looking stuff. Now, so you got your nice pie crust here, you got your nice fluted edge, you take your wonderful pie filling, and it's just absolutely delicious. It's a perfect fit. You put it in there, you take this, and you're gonna put it down in your magic oven. All right, and now you bake that in a 400-degree oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. When it comes out, it's going to be beautiful. But before I show it to you, check out this information, and I'll send you the recipe so you can make a mess out of your kitchen. All right. All right, out of the magic oven it comes. Now, we got our wonderful yam bread. That is absolutely outrageous, and we got our wonderful yam pie. Now, I made a big mess. You can make a big mess too, but don't make a mess on the road. Learn to ride a bike and do it right. Come back next week when we're gonna do 3 things: ride safe, eat hot, and cook with fire. All right.